Blog Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome to 219 Green Connect, where we discuss all things environmental in Northwest Indiana. I am Kathy Sipple. I have Conservation Mike Echterling. If you'd like to follow the conversation either on Facebook or Twitter, you can join us by going to Facebook and searching for 219 Green Connect, or on Twitter, we're also at 219 Green Connect. And let's see if I can get Mike on the line. Hi there, Mike. Are you with me?
I'm with you, Kathy. Hi.
Hi, welcome, and thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, so we have some common interest, I see, by your beautiful bass that you're holding. On the pictures that I put up here for the show, I put one of my little bass that I took last summer on a trip. But the thing that amazes me is that you're finding all these great fishing spots right here in Northwest Indiana. And you being in Lake County, me in Porter, I feel that you really offer the listening audience some depth of information and some opportunities that I feel like I don't know anything about. And frankly, I'd like to learn.
Well, it's pretty amazing how a lot of people don't know or don't realize that we shouldn't be, traveling to Minnesota, to Canada, to Lake Erie, to all these other places. People should be traveling here. Right now, with the perch that we have going on and the coho that we have going on in Lake Michigan, this is world class, and we always use that a lot on our radio show, the Bass Buzz. But it's true. This is a world-class fishery we have here in Lake Michigan, in Wolf Lake, in Willow Slough, and Lake George. We have some of the best fishing places in Northwest Indiana as there are anywhere else in the world.
That's great
It's
information.
Incredible.
Yeah. Well, say a little bit about your show, Region Bass Buzz. I did post a link on the Facebook announcement about the show, but please say a little bit about that so that anglers out there can know how to tune in and get more information on a regular basis from you.
We do Saturday morning from 6 to 8 on WJOB, which is 12:30 a.m., and it's all about fishing, outside, outdoor sports, hunting. People call in with questions about the law, about what's biting, about how to catch it. We get in interesting guests on all sorts of different subjects, whether it be different types of fishing, walleye, bass, bluegills, different specialties. We have a bird guy that we bring in. We have other experts on different subjects that we bring in to inform everyone about Northwest Indiana, about our region here, because it's all here.
Mm-hmm.
We have the most diverse habitats in such a small area as anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I just need to say that, if you're somebody who drives through our area, I won't make generalizations, but I think a lot of people maybe from Chicago think that, they need to go to New Buffalo or somewhere in southwest Michigan to get away from the city. And if you're judging Northwest Indiana by what you see from the Skyway, you just have no idea, really.
Well, see, that's another incredible thing.
Yeah.
Is this is such an industrial area, especially up here North Lake County.
Mm-hmm.
But the nature is still here, or
right.
is recovering.
Right.
The amount of wildlife that we have along the corridor of the Little Calumet River is just incredible.
Well, now that you brought up Little Calumet River, I know you're very actively involved in the Friends of the Calumet River, and I wonder if you could say a little bit about that organization and its upcoming activities.
Well, it's a very small organization. There's pretty much it's just a Facebook page right now, but we're trying to make people aware of what is out there, because nobody knows, because nobody uses it. Historically, it's been a a drainage, storm drain and then drainage for sewage. And when the DNR last did a survey of the west branch of the Little Calumet River in 1980, it was bad. It was really bad. But since then, sewers have been uncombined from stormwater, and sewage treatment plants that now dump in there are dumping drinkable water in the Little Calumet River and its tributaries. And this river has come to life incredibly, and seemingly with no one's help other than to just stop dumping bad things in there and start dumping clean. It hasn't had all these expensive restorations like the Grand Cal is undergoing right now, where they're removing a lot of the contaminated sediments that are still there, and like Indiana Harbor is going to in the very near future. But we have the 10 species of fish-eating birds that live along the river and mate and reproduce along the river, and the river otters and all this wildlife that eats fish would not be there if the fish weren't there, and the fish wouldn't be there if the water wasn't this clean.
Right. Well, you've hit on a few topics that, I just really are of major interest to me, and you said, it's come back to life with no real input. I mean, nature is very able to heal itself if we just help it out a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, do our part to just, protect it. And, so on this show, I really try to draw together, connect some dots, if you will, people that are into green areas as diverse as natural healing, environmentalists, horticulturists, conservationists, fishermen. I think if all of us work together, we can really shine a light on some of these great opportunities that we have here in our region, and just get people out there enjoying it and respecting it. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. But
I think you're absolutely right. That's been my whole thing, and some people are mad at me for doing it because they've been enjoying it for some time now. Just a few people, though, and I'm the big mouth that's telling everybody about everything out there and wanting to get everybody out there to enjoy it, because the dumpers that we still have and the poachers that we still have, and the bad guys want privacy, and the good guys get out there and the bad guys run off. So I want people to get out there and enjoy it. The river is a state water, just like Cedar Lake, just like your lakes down there in Valparaiso and Wolf Lake and Lake Michigan. Right. It belongs to all of us.
Well, I think one activity that definitely makes the Friends of the Little Calumet River more than just a Facebook page is the fact that you had an event last year, and this year you'll have the second annual. Is that right? Is that the River Fest?
May 19th we have the Little Calumet River Fest, and its sole purpose is to draw attention and bring people out people who haven't been paying attention. The river is very different in the Hammond, Munster, Highland area than it is in the Griffith, Gary, Black Oak area, and nobody knows because everybody thinks, it's out there in Gary. Well, you paddle the river, you don't know where you are. You think you're in Kankakee. You think you're in Turkey Run.
I love that. It's just kind of a little mini ecotourism trip that people can take right in their own backyard. Some literally, some a little more figuratively. But so the idea behind that is I think if I get it from looking on Facebook and interpreting the event poster and event information, is that you can paddle, hike. What are some other options? You can just experience it whatever way you decide to.
This year this year we're including a bike ride also.
Great.
That will follow part of the levee trail.
Okay.
The levee trail isn't complete along the whole 20 miles yet, but that's coming, and it's going to be amazing once you can travel the entire thing.
Oh yeah.
But we're showcasing a small section of it, so that people can get out there and see it and be aware and get people talking about it. The amount of interest is amazing. I paddled the river with 4 other people, and we had 2 canoes, and we went and I yapped about it on the radio. And next thing I know, people are interested. So I said, okay, well, let's do it again. And then we had 7 boats and 15 people.
Great.
Like, well, okay. So then they start yapping about it, and I more, and putting it out there on YouTube and Facebook. And then I thought, well, okay, let's get everybody together at the same time. We'll make a festival out of it. And we had 33 boats with 50 people.
Good.
And 400 some visitors come out.
Wonderful. So this year, maybe we can double it?
Yeah.
Triple it? Who knows? Yeah.
This year I just got printed up more flyers, which takes me up to 800 flyers.
Okay.
And last year I think I only had like 300 or 400 of them printed up completely. So I'm already doubled the exposure, and we still are 2 months away from, a little less than 2 months away from the fest. So the interest is really grown.
Good.
And the weather is helping us for sure.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I know. I'm looking out the window right now and thinking, beautiful day. Concentrate on work. Yeah, it is really tempting, on these beautiful sunny days we've been blessed with, to just get out there and do even more exploration. Well, that sounds great, and, I just want to say 219 Green Connect will do our part to help you get that word out, and, just because what I do in real life is more social media coaching, I'll say, if you've got maybe a PDF of that poster that you could post on your Facebook, that would be a good way that people could download and print it, perhaps for their little groups.
Sure.
So it's not all on you to do all the printing and distribution. Let it go from there, and I'd be happy to pass it around and get done what I can get done. Just wondering, do you have any other partners in this River Fest?
I really do, and the list of sponsors, we call them, are on the web page. There's a web page on LakeCountyFishingGame.org for the festival.
Okay.
And it basically has a list of all the cooperating organizations.
Good.
And I've tried to not overwhelm myself, because I've done that before and it doesn't work. You just end up getting burned out. I'm sure a lot of people have been there. But anyone who's had a new idea or an activity has stepped up to take care of that activity. So this has just been a conglomeration of activities from all these different people and groups, and all happening on the same day in the same place.
Good.
And that's how the festival started, and it's continued that way, and it works really well, and nobody's overwhelmed, and nobody's doing everything, and nobody feels like they're doing too much, and it has really worked for us.
Sounds like some very dynamic green connecting going on there. I guess could serve as a model for a lot of other areas. Well, that's great. I think I remember the Northwest Indiana Paddlers Association. I would imagine they would be involved.
The Paddlers, the Isaac Walton in Griffith, Isaac Walton in Miller wants to get involved this year. Lake County Parks, the North Township Trustee, Cabela's, and all these. None of these guys are providing any kind of funding, only help.
Word of mouth and help, right? Mm-hmm.
BP has, well, like the North Township trustee, Frank Mervan, he gives us a bus so that we can shuttle people from the end of the paddling back to the start so they can get their cars.
Great. I was kind of wondering about that little technicality.
Yeah,
I figured you probably had that under control, but that's a great donation. Very practical.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. That we haven't needed a lot of money. BP stepped up this year and gave us $2,000 for T-shirts, for promotion, for signage, because those are things we definitely need, and those things cost money.
Right.
We had a small donation last year from the Hammond City Council for that we used for a lot of that stuff, but then the rest of it was all in donations from different places. But like we're having a beanbag tournament this year, and he is our sign guy and our T-shirt guy also.
Wow, great.
So he does all that printing for us.
Wonderful,
and,
wonderful.
This year he doesn't have to donate everything. We can actually buy some of the things for him, but then he decided to get involved with the tournament this year.
Good.
And the tournament has a $500 first prize, which is, pretty good for any beanbag tournament. And we're going to hopefully bring people out to spend the day at the park there at Oxbow Park in Hammond, which is a beautiful, underused, undersupported park in Hammond that nobody ever goes to. It has its own fishing lake. It's right on the river. It's beautiful.
I think I had to ask you. You posted some beautiful video, and I think I asked the question, where is this? I didn't know, but you were kind enough to direct my attention, fix that for me. But I love that cross-pollination between counties, between agencies, and just sharing of information, ideas, resources, time. Together we can really get a lot of things done. So good for you. Kudos, and I wish you a lot of success with that festival. Sounds like it's well underway to a very, very great time. I've got it on my calendar for May 19th.
Well, I hope to see you.
Yeah. So tell me again the start time.
The start time for the bike ride. They're going to start registering at 8:00. And pretty much everything kind of kicks off at 9.
Okay.
Paddlers need to register at the beginning, and we're going to have everything is together, but you kind of have to go here if you want to do that, and go there if you want to do that. So we'll have plenty of traffic direction in the area, but everything pretty much starts at 9. And get out there, and we have a fishing derby, and we have all kinds of other kids' activities. We'll have some food. We'll have some free paddling available if somebody just wants to get out there and paddle around the lake there in the park. That'll be available. We'll have rentals available if you wanted to make the paddling trip, because the paddling trip goes from basically from Kennedy Avenue there at Oxbow Park, right there on the border of Highland and Hammond, all the way to Grant Street in Gary, which is 6 miles away. And there will be rentals available. Of course, bring your own. Bring your canoe, bring your kayak, bring your whatever you want to come and play with us. Bring it, and we'll put it in the water, and we'll have a good time. It's one of the safest paddling trips according to the Northwest Indiana Paddlers, because the current is negligible. You can easily turn around at the other end and paddle back if you like, or
that is unique.
Any time if you want to, because the current is just, it's hardly there
negligible.
at all.
Okay. Yeah. So we're not talking whitewater rafting, not any fear factor kind of stuff.
No, nothing like that at all.
Safe for all ages, all abilities, it sounds like. Well, that sounds like a great time. What is still needed, or if people listening now would like to get involved or participate in some way, what are you still needing, or how could they do that?
Well, anybody wants to help or has something they'd like to do, everything that we're doing is pretty well handled. But if anybody has something new, one of the guys came up with I forgot what he called it. Some kind of, I don't know, some kind of other thing where you walk, you run, and you bike ride.
Sort of like a triathlon or something.
Kind of, yeah. And I guess this is a up and coming thing.
Okay.
We don't have time to organize it for this year, but maybe for next year we might. But feel free to contact me on Friends of the Little Calumet River Facebook page, the Little Calumet River Fest Facebook page, the Bass Buzz, the Region Bass Buzz has a Facebook page. My email and phone number is on LakeCountyFishingGame.org. Contact me however you like to, and I would be happy to see what we can do as far as using everyone who wants to help.
Good. Yeah, it
I don't like to turn anybody away.
Yeah, having a couple extra volunteers to sign people in or whatever, you know, it seems like it's never a bad thing.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You can never have too much help.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a great time. Well, I'm just curious, how did you first get involved in, your interest in fishing and hunting and conservation?
Well, I grew up in Munster, but on Hart Ditch, and us, the neighborhood kids, we always fished. We fished every place we could possibly walk to. The place called the Brickyard in Munster. A place called Highland Pond in Meadows Park in Highland, the Little Cal a little bit because back then it wasn't that much of a fishery, and plus we traveled all over fishing also, and I actually got in trouble for ditching school to go fishing. A junior in high school.
Coming clean all these years later.
But then getting involved in organizations. One being Lake County Fishing Game, which is the oldest conservation group in Indiana.
Wow.
Been around since 1935. And I just kind of got involved in it, and it's fun. It's fun to do these things and see results. I get out there and I help with kids' outings, where you have kids that have never fished before or maybe once or twice, and there's just some kind of magic with catching a fish that you might not understand unless you've done it. And it really draws people to get outside, and that's, I don't know, that's just what it's always been about, is just get outside.
Right.
I hate being cooped up in the house.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can totally relate to that. My husband is a big fan of fishing. I liked it before I met him, but I have to say I've come to appreciate it in a even deeper way, since then. But oftentimes, I mean, we just go out, and even if we catch nothing, whether it's a beautiful day or a foggy day, it's just that you're out, you're looking around, you're enjoying nature, and the fishing is kind of secondary. I mean, it gives you a reason.
I just saw it on a show just like last week. They went out fishing, and the one person was, well, this is wonderful, and we're not catching anything. And the person that was taking everyone said, fishing is not about catching fish.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of camaraderie. It's a lot about, teamwork, too. I mean, sometimes I'll even say this, I hope my husband doesn't get mad, but there have been times when I have caught more fish than my husband.
Certainly.
But he's also the one who is navigating the boat, like figuring out where, the good spots are on the lake. And, that takes a lot of work. If I were left to my own devices to do that and fish, I wouldn't catch nearly as many fish.
Well, and some people who don't know about fishing and hunting don't realize how much you have to learn and how much an avid fisherman or an avid hunter knows about the outdoors in general, and the animals that are out there, and the behavior and the habitat and that kind of stuff. You know, look at Theodore Roosevelt, the father of conservation, of American conservation anyway. You know, he was the biggest hunter there is, or there ever was, really. You know, he hunted everything, but hunting is more than just killing animals, and it really brings you. I don't know. It's very therapeutic to go out there, whether you get anything or not.
Right. It just reinforces your connection to the whole, you know, web of life. And if you're a carnivore, you know, the food chain, you know, I do eat meat and fish. I have never hunted, I have to say, and it's not that I'm, you know, morally opposed. I just don't think I have the stomach for it, you know, which I'll admit it is a little wimpy. You know, if you'll go to a grocery store and you'll buy packaged meat, you know, if I don't have, excuse me, the stones to take down my own dinner, you know, maybe you shouldn't even, you know, be allowed to buy meat off of a store shelf. But I'll tell you, you know, hanging out with others that do, it makes me appreciate, you know, the care and the knowledge that goes into it. And I do think when it's done, you know, in the highest and best way, that's absolutely the good that can come of it, you know. And I think with proper training and involvement with groups like the ones you're involved in, people do learn that respect, and it's not just about, like you said, going out and shooting Bambi or something.
No.
It's about, you know, really connecting in a deep, and I'll go out on a limb here and say spiritual way to nature.
It took me 30 years to shoot a deer, and not for lack of trying. It just I wasn't there. I didn't know enough. I didn't have enough knowledge of what I needed to do. And of course, there's a lot of being in the right place at the right time. But that there's a whole lot of things that all have to come together.
So at the Lake County, I'm probably going to get this name now, the Fishing, what's the full name again?
Lake County Fish and Game Protective Association. Right,
okay. So are there any workshops or offerings that people new to fishing and hunting can go to as a resource?
Actually, we have one coming up May 11th. That is the Go Fishin' program that the DNR puts on. Great. And this is for people who want to learn how to, basically how to teach kids how to fish.
Okay.
And we're teaching the teachers at this thing. But if you go to lakecountyfishandgame.org and either look at the calendar or the latest newsletter, there's a link there where you can sign up to come to that. It's on a Friday, and I think it's from 8 to 4, but it's put on by the DNR, and once you do that, you can be qualified to borrow equipment that the DNR gives us to loan out to people to use to take kids fishing and get them started on a lifetime of being outside.
And we don't encourage, by the way, kids to skip school in order to do this.
Well, this isn't really for the kids.
Right.
This is more for the teachers, yes.
Yeah, I was referring back to your experience that you mentioned as a junior in high school.
No, I don't recommend that. But, it was at the time. It seemed like the right thing to do.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm not going to fault you for that. But we've just got about a minute left. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Just personal observations or advice for anybody who is a little bit new to these things we've been talking about?
My total advice to anyone is to keep your head up and your eyes open. Leave the iPod at home. Listen to the outside. Look out the outside. I can't tell you how many times I've watched people on the walking trails walk right past deer and birds and the beautiful things going on outside, and they missed it because they weren't looking around.
Great advice.
Close down into their own world and get out and look at the world around you.
That's wonderful, wonderful advice. And I realize we didn't even get to talk about eagles, so I think I'm going to have you back because we're at about the 10-second mark. So I just want to say thanks again to Conservation Mike. My name's Kathy Sipple. This has been another episode of 219 Green Connect. I hope you'll join us back very soon. Thanks, Mike.